I spent 6 hours drawing maps, naming every NPC. I even wrote the blacksmith's backstory. When the session time came, my players walked in, looked around, and left town. All that prep I'd done was wasted. And the problem wasn't my players. The problem wasn't even that I prepped too much. The problem was that I and my prep was fragile. Overprepping doesn't kill games. Fragile prep kills games. That's when all your work only functions if your players do exactly what you'd expect. And trust me, they won't. The solution isn't to prep less. The solution is to prep smarter, to prep things that survive contact with your players. I'm Jaden, and I've been playing tabletop RPGs for 13 years, and for many of those years, I was a chronic overprepper. I wrote novels worth of backstory, drafted elaborate city maps, and planned speeches for dukes that no players ever met. Eventually, I realized the truth. I wasn't prepping for my players, I was prepping for me, and that's why it kept breaking. Fragile prep is prep that only works if your players walk a single path. Here's what I mean. I once designed an entire Thieves Guild hideout, 20 rooms, hidden passages, NPC rosters. It was beautiful. The players, though, they cast Pass Without Trace, snuck past everything, and confronted the Guildmaster in 5 minutes. My whole week of prep was gone in a single spell slot. Now, my biggest mindset shift I ever made was this. I stopped prepping for the story in my head, and I started prepping for the people in my world. When I prepared my latest campaign, I stopped writing pages of dialogue for that local duke. Instead, I wrote 3 things. I gave every important NPC a goal, a resource, and a fear. That's enough, at least for me, to improvise them for months. So this duke wants 3 things, right? He wants to consolidate power, he commands mercenaries, and he fears rebellion from his own nobles. So that was it. 3 lines. And suddenly whatever the players did, ally with him, betray him, ignore him entirely, I always knew how he'd react because I wasn't tied to a script. I was tied to his motives, his accent too, but prepping people, not plots. That saved the day. Here's a hard truth. About 80% of your prep is never going to hit the table, and that's okay. But if you focus on the right 20%, your game is still going to feel alive. My sessions run off of a 1-page prep sheet. On that page, I write the central conflict of the session, a list of names I can pull out on demand, and 3 sensory details for the locations I think my players will visit. That's it. Now, I once wrote down conflict, mercenaries demand higher pay. Names, Jones, Myrrell, and Pask. Sensory details, muddy boots, smoke from campfires, bitter ale. That's all I needed. Players negotiated, fought, and bribed their way through, and it looked like I had spent hours planning. But here is that trick. I didn't try to prep everything. I prepped the right things for me. Now, not everyone can improvise for hours. You may need to flesh it out more or use your role-playing Bible you've created. But what it comes down to is this. Conflicts, names, details, that's your 20%. The rest, we can make it up when we need it. Now, some of you are thinking, that's great, Jaden, but what if I freeze? That's where the improvisation safety nets can come in. You don't need 20 pages of lore, you need reusable tools. A random name list, so when they ask who runs the tavern, you don't stall. Mara, the airwife, nailed it. A set of quirks, Mara hates bards. The captain bites his nails. The priest always asks for your blood type. 1 quirk is all it takes to make an NPC feel real. A short list of sensory prompts helps too. Smoke, bells, mud, stone. Pick one, describe it, and your world's gonna feel just that bit more alive. That's all it takes. You look like a genius, and no one knows you didn't plan it. But you know what they will notice? They're gonna notice your brand new shirt you bought at Roll-to-One.shop. That way, you look as prepared as you feel. Here's the heart of it though. Overprepping isn't about time, it's about control. We overprep because we're scared. We're scared because the players will zig when we prep to zag. Scared they're gonna ruin the story we had in mind. Scared we'll be caught without an answer. I know I've said secret a lot, but this is the one that I want you to hang on to. The best games don't come from the story that you protect. They come from the story that our players create. I've run campaigns where I wrote epic plots, and they were fine. But the campaign my players still talk about years later, those are the ones where they break my prep. They forced me to improv, and they took the story somewhere that I could have never imagined by myself. Prep isn't about controlling the story. It's about giving our players a world that reacts. And when the game stops being yours, it can start being theirs. So let's zoom out. Overprepping doesn't kill our game. Fragile prep does. Prep situations, not scripts. Prep goals, resources, fears. Prep conflicts that force choices. Build safety nets for improv. That's all you need. prep that bends instead of breaks. Then you can trust your players to surprise you. If you've been drowning in prep, try to cut it down this week. 1 page, 3 things, see what happens. Let me know about your next session in the comments below. I read every one. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm Jaden from Roll to One, and I'll see you next time.